The following program is a real estate and mortgage show and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is advised. Good evening and welcome to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts Randy and Jackie Rodney right here on Reality Radio 101. To get on board, send us an email. Our email address is yourhomeyourmoney101@gmail.com. And now, right to your hosts of Your Home, Your Money, Randy and Jackie Rodney.
Hello, y'all.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Yeah.
Got a bone to pick already with my husband. He's like, you got your buzz? But you told me the show was going to be all about the stats. But I do have buzz. I have
Serious?
buzz.
So you just come unprepared? Like, I didn't say it would be all about the stats. I said that today is Stats Day. And you heard that you don't have to do anything. You just sit there. You're not going to prepare for the audience. Is that what you heard?
No, I got it. You know what? He's going to get slapped out real
but
fast
you're the one
today.
that said you wanted to pick the bones. So I'm like, okay, well, let's see what you're talking about. Okay, so.
So we got a ton of emails.
You
Do you
do
want
them
me
first,
to? I don't
or-
know. I guess so.
Sure, yeah, do the emails.
Okay.
1, 3.
I'm just trying to see because I got once these companies get a hold of your email, the junk mail you get is just brutal. I don't need a job, even though Amazon help requested. Check all this out. Hold on, guys. I gotta get. Here we go. Okay, now we finally got through the junk mail. I'm sorry, my allergies are horrible, so you're going to hear me sniffing and sneezing and the whole thing. So I apologize before we even start. Oh, and Larry says more Randy and Jackie banter today, please. Thanks. Huh. Well, we got a lot of banter.
I got nothing to say to you.
You got nothing. Well, there you go. Right there, there's banter. You got nothing to say to me,
Hey Jackie, if they want to see you guys, how would they do that?
Randy? We are on YouTube.
Go on YouTube or Facebook, and either one of them you can go to @YourTeamPros. So I think you got to do a
Pros with an
backslash
S.
@YourTeamPros with an S.
I think also you can use your
What?
what do you call the name of the show?
Your Home, Your Money.
Your Home, Your Money.
That I'm not sure about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you,
that'd probably
there.
work too.
You can. I'm on it right now. Your Home, Your Money, and we're on Facebook as well.
Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah. Pretty soon, I got to learn some social media. Maybe I'm going to be putting out a few little clips on Instagram and that because realizing we're starting to get followers on Instagram, and we are not social media people. Period. So next email, Randy, Janice says everything is in the toilet, right?
It depends what you mean, but yeah, I think so. I think that would be a fair.
A safe assumption.
Fair assessment. It sort of depends whose perspective you're looking from. If you're looking from the buyer's perspective, it's better. If you're looking from the seller's perspective, it's in the toilet. Sellers want more money, buyers want to pay less, so buyers are a lot happier. Mortgage rates right now, they're running specials where they'll give you like 3% or 2.99% for 6 months, and then up it after that. And so they're doing these things to allow you to get into a slightly better home, reduce your costs, attract the mortgages. So in that sense, things are better for buyers, but for sellers, unfortunately, a lot of sellers are not prepared for this marketplace, and they choose not to be. So when they're informed that the marketplace does not support the pricing that they believe their house is, they believe that the realtor is the one controlling the marketplace, and that just doesn't happen. It's never happened. You know, it leads me to a small little story, is that during the time when prices were going up, people were blaming it on the realtors because they were holding back offers to
Price fixing, they
and
called
stuff
it.
like that. But the thing is, you're just doing that because your client has hired you to get the most amount of money, so you're giving them systems that will give them the best chance to get the most amount of money, but you're not in any way controlling the price. So buyers are controlling what it is that they would be willing to pay. And the sellers are saying, yeah, I'll accept that money. And the realtors are actually just helping them to maximize their profits by using a system that would help them to get the most amount of money. And so if realtors were the ones fixing the prices and all that stuff, which was reported all over the place, prices would still be going up because realtors would still be fixing the prices. But prices are going down. So is it realtors that are fixing the price going down, or are we here along for the ride? So it's really interesting how people will jump on whatever they can possibly jump on to blame whoever they can possibly blame in order to, you know, I guess make themselves feel that they're in the know. But the truth of the matter is that yes, for sellers, this is a very tough marketplace. Sellers that believe that their home is worth what it was at the peak. Sellers that in 2021 and 2022, in 2023, 2024, sellers all those years, even though the prices kept coming down, sellers are still believing their home is worth what it was 2,
Yeah.
3, 4 years ago. And because of that, and one of the things that they say is, oh, well, you never know. Yeah, you do know, because you know that if you went out to buy a home, you're not going to overpay for that home. You're going to want us to tell you what's going on in that neighborhood, and then you're going to say, hey, that person's overpriced. Nice home, but I can get another one, even a better one for that price, so why would I do that? So in that case, yeah, times are difficult, times are challenging, and things are in the toilet for sellers. But for buyers, actually, there's a few rays of sunshine here, and I think that they'll continue to see, buyers will continue to see rays of sunshine if they're comfortable with the pricing for at least a year and a half. At least before they may have to be concerned about the market turning on them. And thank you for your question.
Yeah, it's funny you talked about the price fixing, because here's the article. Canadians could be eligible for settlement in class action real estate price fixing lawsuit. How can you price fix?
Well,
First of all, because to me, it's hard. I don't know. Every house is so different. I don't know.
Well, that in that particular lawsuit, it's gearing on a slightly different thing. What they're saying is that because the buyer is paying, in this article, they're kind of, or in this lawsuit, they're kind of claiming, and have had success in the States, that it's unfair for the seller to have to pay all the commission. And because the seller is paying all the commission, the system is rigged. You know, and that's a difficult, I mean, I guess it's something you can win in court, possibly, for judges, if the judge really has no clue on how the process really kind of works. But the truth of the matter, is it really the sellers paying all the commission because the buyer doesn't have to pay out of pocket? Or is the buyer paying all the commission because they're the ones bringing all the money to the table? And then the seller then divvies up the portion of the commission. But are they divvying it up on themselves, or are they divvying it up for themselves and the buyer? Because if the buyer doesn't bring the money to the table, the seller is not paying any commission. So you could argue that scenario both ways. You could say, well, this isn't fair. The buyer's paying all the commission, even though the seller's divvying it up, because the buyer's bringing all the money to the table. So they're paying the whole 5%. And then you could argue, well, no, the seller is paying all the 5%. But the truth of the matter, it's all the bag of money that's being negotiated. The 5% of that goes out to, let's call it real estate. And a lot of people say, well, that's way too much money for realtors to make. Well, check out all the discount real estate companies that have come and gone since I've been in the business. Every single one of them come and gone. They're all the ones that were around when I started are all gone. All the ones that were around last 10 years ago, they're all gone. Rogers opened up one, which was a discount brokerage, and it's gone as well. And one of the reasons being is because it is not really a cheap process to market and sell a home. So that's one issue. The other issue is the government is partners in the money, and so is the brokerage partners in the money, and so is the licensing commission partners in the money. So the money gets split many different ways, and people make the false assumption that when a realtor sells a house, that they get a $50,000 bag of money that they throw all over the place and sleep on. And that's certainly not the case. As a matter of fact, if you really kind of break it down responsibly, after taxes and after your marketing and after you've paid the government, after you've paid your brokerage, after you've paid your team and after you've paid your administration and after you've paid for your lights and your rent and everything, you're looking at somewhere around an $8,000 check. But the homeowners and the home buyers and the majority of the market and the newspapers and everything think you get a $50,000 check. It just isn't like that. So the market is so you get people who are saying, well, it's just way too much, so I'm going to do this. It's really interesting also that a lot of things are tracked. Stats are all tracked. So if the real estate was not worth the extra commissions for the homeowners to pay, they would just sell it themselves. And a lot of homeowners do. They sell it themselves and so-called save the commissions. And it turns out that these are stats that are also followed. You're there on the computer, look it up. How much money does a for sale by owner typically sell their home for compared to the professional realtor? And the difference is astounding.
Yeah.
So the real estate industry, the average realtor, so now you got different levels of realtors, right? That have different systems in place. And some of them can sell homes above the average and some of them below the average because they're not as good negotiators. They don't have the skill sets. They don't have the systems. And then you've got the average. The for sale by owners, they would normally pay if they hired a professional real estate organization that had the systems to sell their home at the average price, would pay a 5% commission. Instead, they sell it themselves, and on average, there's a 13% deficit. So here they are, which is really an interesting thing. Here it is the home owner is looking to save the 5% commission, and they end up discounting and losing that 5% commission, and then turning around and losing another 8% on average in doing it themselves. So it's really kind of fascinating. And because of these types of stats, that's the reason why the real estate industry commissions has been floating at the 5% range. Now, not all realtors charge 5%. quite frankly, if we didn't have the systems in place so that we could sell homes above the average marketplace, we wouldn't be charging the 5%. And so because we can sell them above the average market, and these are stats that are easily proven, we therefore feel comfortable doing that. But to be honest with you, if we didn't have those systems and the marketing that we had and all that stuff, we would discount as well, because we wouldn't feel comfortable unless we were adding value to our clients. In our case, we are definitely adding value to our clients because we are, on our side, we charge the 2.5%, and we are getting our sellers better than that. And now in this marketplace, my last little thing here, in this marketplace, the market has shifted from being a realtor that needs to provide your client with exceptional prices to only 1 in 5 homes are selling. So that realtor needs to be able to give you the education and the mindset in order to sell your property and be the one that sells, not the 4 that does not. And that's the value in the current marketplace as it sits. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, sorry. Frank says, hey, Jackie sounds like she has a cold. No, Frank, I have really bad allergies in August because it's rakeweed. And if you were on YouTube looking at me, I look like Rudolph right now. My nose is so red and sore. And I buy really good tissues because if I don't, I wouldn't have a nose left on my face. But yeah, it's these allergies, which I feel bad for anybody that suffers from them this time of year because it ain't going away until frost hits and Mother Nature starts to die a little bit because she ain't liking me right now.
And I don't want to be mean or anything, but it could be God getting at you for the way you treat me. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying it could be. Like,
Okay, let's go over this for a minute. How am I treating you?
I think you're treating me amazing, but obviously God has different views on
No. That came out of your mouth.
Well,
out of
it's just an observation.
It came out of the horse's mouth, or should I say the horse's ass?
Yeah.
Because you get treated
I
better
take that
than
offensively,
most
actually.
men I know. And
I think
all
I
your
get-
friends will say that
I
too.
think I get treated really well.
So, well, I'm suffering because of the way I treat you?
That's God. He inspired me to say that. It wasn't
And now you're using God
No, I'm just saying.
as your playbook?
Not playbook. It's like
You're going to be
sometimes
cursed.
That's very possible.
You know, you're blaming God for me. You know what?
That's
I think
very
Randy
possible.
needs to go and live on his own for a month and see how great life is without me. Could you do that?
I don't really want to live without you, sweetheart. I love you very much. So let's not even bother with the experiment.
Oh, okay.
But you gotta admit, I've been taking good care of you since I got out of the hospital.
He's been cooking, guys. I don't
I've
know.
been taking cooking, cleaning
He's-
dishes. Come on.
He's turned a new leaf. He's never cooked, maybe 3-4 times in 30 years, and he's a really, really good cook.
No, I suck.
No, you're
suck.
good.
I'll
You're
get
good.
better.
When we first started dating, you used
Yeah,
to cook
then I
me
was
things.
good because I was
And it was
on my
good.
own and I cooked. But
was
now I
good.
haven't cooked in years. I've got a lot of learning to do. I don't even know
And
when
yeah,
the
he's
chicken
done the
is cooked.
dishes a couple times.
I do my shit.
You're funny.
How much more you know?
Lisa sends us a picture of real estate, and it's a toilet.
A toilet. Yep.
You know, I'm going to just comment on this for a minute because somebody asked me today, actually, I had to take my dog to the vet because she's suffering from allergies as well. And the vet asked me, he said, so how's real estate out there? He said, I'm considering, diving in. I said, what do you mean? Are you downsizing? Are you getting in? He says, well, I want to buy a bigger house. And I said, well, and I've told a few people this.
It's different for him, though. He owns a house. So
Yes, but
completely different.
but all I was going to say was I think right now, people that are upsizing, you have a smaller home and you're upsizing, I think is a win-win for those people, because honestly, I think the amount that you're going to lose on your small home you're selling compared to the
Savings on the
great
big
price
home.
you're going to get on the big home,
Yeah.
there's not going to be any comparison. Because
Yeah.
once this, who knows how long, but when the market starts going up
Yeah, it's gonna
again, your little
equalize.
house is only going to go up so much, because you can only get so much for the space, right, and the lot. But the bigger homes, your price is going to increase amazing, because you got some, if you have a look right now, you got some homes that I'm seeing, they're discounted 150,000 right off the get-go. So I think if you are in the market, you can get in the market and you can upsize. I think that's a great opportunity for people right now.
100%. It's really different. The marketplace is different. Let's touch on this for a second. Is it in the toilet? It really, like we were saying before, it really kind of depends who you are. Because even for some buyers, they consider the market in the toilet because it's just too expensive and yada, yada, yada. They have, their personal reasons. And I kind of agree. It is not cheap to get in the market. Real estate was never really cheap to ever get in the market. Back in the days when you would call a house cheap, 190,000, whatever, you have to have 20%. Like that, 25% down. That was just to be considered, never mind anything else. And then your interest rate was 12, 13, 14, 15, 18%. So, it was, real estate was never really cheap. There was just a period of time where it was easy to get into. And people are sort of looking at those times and hoping those times stay, but that's not normal throughout history. Now, in terms of people who currently own, and they're looking to upsize or even downsize, the fluctuations in the market are relative. Let's just talk about, we're not talking about advantages where hiring a professional set of realtors who really keep their eyes on the numbers, understand the market, understand negotiation, understand leverage and things. They can bring you some unfair advantages like she could easily bring for this gentleman because she understands how to get him a great deal in this market to buy. When he sells, not so easy. It's to actually get sold is the hard part today. But the person who is currently in the marketplace, for them to make a move, it's relative. If prices drop, let's just say on average, all the housing prices dropped 100,000. Well, yes, you save 100,000 when you buy, but it costs you 100,000 when you sell. So it's a wash. So it's not that. It's relative. If the prices were high and they were another $100,000 higher, you would get another $100,000 for your home, but you'd have to pay another $100,000 for the house that you're buying, relatively speaking. So it is fairly relative. Now, there are some nuances in the market where you can take advantage of certain positions, especially if you're buying up right now. There's some great opportunity in that. But these things are for those people, market in the toilet, market doing well, market doing poorly, it's almost all relative to them.
Okay, so James says, let's talk about sports. I listened for the dialogue between Randy and Jackie Rodney. Again, regardless of the prices coming down, no one has a down payment in Kearney's, Canada.
Okay, so
it is a challenge. It is challenging.
It is a challenge.
I'm going to put it out there. It's challenging.
It is a challenge, and it's kind of harder and harder because rents are so incredibly high. But that's not a Kearney problem. That was not Elizabeth Warren. What was her name? Back in the day, can't remember her name.
Oh my gosh, why am I
She
forgetting?
single-handedly destroyed the
Kathleen
Liberal
Wynne.
Party.
Kathleen Wynne, that's it, yeah.
She's the one that started this whole process. You see, here's the crazy thing about government. When government steps into the public arena and they decide that they're going to make policies like, we're going to rent freeze, we're going to do this, we're going to do that for the underdog or whatever. What actually happened where she was trying to save the renters, what she did was she then got people who are landlords to no longer want to be landlords. And they just said, screw this, I'm getting out of the business, I'm not buying. The day that she made that policy, you know how many buildings stopped being built? They immediately changed from building rentals to building condos. It was just a switch. They just stopped building. They went for a new application to change that from being a rental thing to a condo thing, and that was it. So what happened after that is then there was a shortage of rental properties. As there's a shortage for rental properties, now the demand becomes huge. And look at rental prices today. The policies that she put in place 100% contribute to the problems in the rental market today. And so when government thinks that they're doing all of this, giving this free stuff, doing all this stuff, it all comes home to roost. You know, you're giving away free dental to these people. And believe me, I can't tell you the number of friends that I have that thought this is such a great idea, it's great, it's good. Well, look where we are today, because we have to pay those dental bills. So now, how are we going to do it? Oh, I'll tell you how. We got to raise taxes. Oh, well, you know, you can't raise taxes because people will be mad. Okay, so let's then just, let's do something else. Let's charge them this. Let's remove their ability to, if they were to sell, instead of their capital gains being at this percent, let's up it. Okay, so we're kind of taking away those people's futures that have worked really hard for it. So what? We got to pay this dental bill. And that's just the way it works. So all of us Canadians that are on this kick that we love our Liberal government teaming up with the NDP and giving stuff away for free, it is the kiss of death. And all it is a fancy credit card where you're getting free stuff today and the bill comes tomorrow.
Yeah.
And guess who's paying for it? Our children. This is it. We need to stop. There's got to be a point where you can try to be responsible. We've got to get to the point where, you know what, the free stuff, we need to put it on hold. And we need to sort of catch our ground. And I think we need to really start to look to our South. And I know this is everybody sort of hates the South right now. But if we look to the South and see all the cost-saving measures that they're putting in place and things of that nature, that's the direction we should go in. We stop funding all this international, pretending that we're these great philanthropists. With our money, with our tax money, they're saving, I don't know,
I'd rather give
weird
more
stuff.
to the seniors and the vets in Canada than sending it outside. And then I think once you take care of your own,
yeah, and you
then
have
you
money
look at
left
helping
over.
somebody else.
Right.
But come on, look at the
But they'll never
amount
do
of
that.
homeless right now.
They'll never do that. And the
And
other,
not everybody wants to be homeless, and everybody thinks, oh, they want to be out there. Not everybody wants to be homeless. Some people don't have a choice.
yeah, but I don't think that's our homeless problem, the people that don't have a choice. I think our homeless, because that is a percentage of it, but what percentage, I'm not sure, but I think it's a very low percentage. Although it's getting higher today because, you know what? It's really weird when you find out that Tim Hortons drive-through person is homeless. And they're making an income, but they can't afford
Yeah.
it. And then you find out that 6 people are living in a 2-bedroom condo or something like, or even a 3-bedroom condo. And you know, life, and they have to do that in order to survive. The landlord doesn't know there's 6 people in there because he would never allow it. But that's what they have to do in order to pay their rent. Yes, things are tough, I will say.
Yeah.
And going right full circle in terms of saving the money for the deposit, it is not easy. And because it's not easy, it's going to require us to really change the way in which we see life. You know, we go in and out of homes every single day. And one thing I will tell you is the most common thing when you go into the upscale homes, you don't see a lot of junk. You don't see a lot of purchases. You don't see a lot. You go into the lower incomes or mid incomes and lower, they got every toy there is out there. And they're just blowing their money and spending their money. And so that is one thing that I think that needs to change. Not only are you destroying your life with clutter, you're destroying your children's life with the behavior. And then they're seeing that behavior and adapting it because that's what makes them feel good. That's what makes them feel warm is that, oh, they went and bought this thing, even from the dollar store. Come home, it's garbage. 2 weeks later, but it doesn't matter. You felt good on the purchase, and you're destroying your children's future. You're giving them habits that will totally destroy them. What really needs to happen is we need to get to the point where we tell especially if our children are living at home and they're working, you have to save 50%. If you don't save 50% of your income, you have to pay rent. And it's just that simple. That's it. And so they got 50% because they got no other bills. If you're paying them, they're not even paying for their food. Half the time you're seeing them do Uber and all these stupid things. But that's life today. So, you know, you've become accustomed to it. But they need to learn how to save. And once they do, then they save up at $25,000, they can pick themselves up something in the Durham region. Average prices in the Durham region are quite interesting. I'm just going to run through them quickly, hun, before you do that. Durham region, because that's the area that we concentrate on, so that's the area that I'd like to quote some of these prices. So if you look in Oshawa, the average price of a home is $747,000. Now, if we go to the average price of, let's say, a starter home, which would be more of a attached row townhouse or a condo townhouse. In the Durham region, you're looking at $575,000. In Oshawa, $596,000. In Pickering, $533,000. In Clarington, $633,000. In Ajax, in Whitby, $662,000. You need about $30,000 down. So if you're saving 50% of your income, you go and you're out there and you have a job that's $30,000 a year. In 2 years to 3 years, you would save the deposit as a young person to be able to purchase that home. And then now you go and you talk to your friends and that, you bring them in as tenants living with you, because if they're living with you as a tenant and they piss you off, you can kick them out that day. You don't need to go through the landlord and tenant board. So these are the philosophies that and the mindsets that we have to move with. And I know sometimes it's not comfortable, but here's the thing, this is our reality. So the choice is not to lie down and just complain about everything. We have to find solutions to allow our children to navigate this cruel and punishing world that we have created because we're the ones voting in our government that is spending money on a whole bunch of silly things. We're the ones that are approving them to do it. And
Well,
so
who?
we
Approving
have
who?
to take, we as a society, sweetheart, so we have to take responsibility for it and therefore look for ways it is to help our children to navigate this world.
I know, and I agree with most everything you said, okay? And I think us middle income, lower income, whatever, we try to give our kids stuff we didn't have,
Yes.
which I think is where the problem begins, and I'm
Yes.
very guilty of it. When
Oh,
our
yeah.
kids,
Oh,
when our
yeah. No,
okay,
we're all
stop it.
guilty of it.
When our kids were little, but Randy grew up with nothing, elastic bands as a ball. So for
I didn't
him,
even have that.
it's quite easy for him to say, cluttering your house, going to the dollar store. But I guarantee you, if you had parents when you were little and they were bringing you home stuff, you'd love it.
Okay.
And it
okay,
brings
but-
some joy, and I'm guilty too.
But
I
that
did.
is how you
I did a lot
destroy
of stuff when
your
our kids, but I didn't destroy our kids.
Okay, well, hold on. I never said you destroyed them, but I'm saying you're
But our
destroying
kids
part
were
of them.
little
Okay, now
and
here-
spoiled in a way, but
Yes,
they
they
also
were.
knew. They also knew a lot of different things around that too. I taught them about things like, some kids don't have it, some kids have more. You don't go out and you don't talk about, I don't know. Anyways,
So here's the thing. I did that
I
too.
think you
Our
can do that
backyard
without-
was full of blow up, 12-foot tall, not little tiny blow up, big blow up toys that you find in fairs and things like that. Like we bought them, we had them in our backyard, and our kids had a great time because our philosophy was that our house was where all the neighborhood kids would come to. And one of the reasons why we wanted that is because then we would know who is who. And then we would know what our children are doing and who they're playing with. And we would be able to secretly have a voice
A little bit
to
of a
help
hole.
them to understand situations that they're in, as opposed to not knowing what's going on in the neighborhood. So we bought all the best toys that existed. And because I was earning a pretty decent income too, that's the way we did it. However, what I'm talking about is a very, very different economy now than the economy that we had when our children were younger. When our economy we had when our children were younger, we had a lot more disposable income.
Yes.
Today, with the cost of groceries,
Life's very different.
It's a scary place. And so,
but
I want to get into some stats.
our house is still the house where the friends come.
This is true.
It's always been that.
always
Our
been that.
kids don't really go out that much at all, unless they're right now
Yeah, they
they're in
don't
New
go to
York
the
for
bars,
business, but they don't go out like
They don't
that.
do that stuff.
But let me go through some emails then. Jim says, Randy, quit whining. Yeah, why are you whining all the time, anyways? Do something else. Get into media.
Yeah.
James, now that you said that, we did. We have a podcast studio that people can come in to our office and they can record their podcasts. They can come in and get headshots. They can come in and do all kinds of stuff. So we are in media, pretending we are.
Jim, there you go.
Then we got, I don't know if it's Monique. Get a job at McDonald's. You can make more money per week, and the fries are great. Oh, don't you love those fries?
The fries are great.
They are the best.
As long as you're eating them warm, hot.
Oh, you got to eat them when they're fresh,
yeah.
if they're fresh. Sometimes you don't get them fresh.
Yeah.
But that was my mom's favorite. Their soft serve ice cream and their fries. She loved that
Yeah. Can't argue with that.
so much. Steve says, hello, and Randy, what about your health issues? How about God punishing you because of the way you be right, Jackie?
No, Steve, that's not.
Steve, I have to agree with you. Yeah, what's
I
going
think-
on? I got allergies, but you were way worse than me. So what are you getting punished
Is that
for?
Steve or Stephanie?
It's Steve. Stephanie. Oh, Steve, he just made a crack at you.
No, not really.
But
Listen,
it's true.
Steve, that's
He
your
is
choice.
getting punished. He is being punished.
I think that what happened was just, yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't good. So maybe, who knows? It's possible.
Anne says, so
But
Randy.
you should
Oh,
block
sorry.
Steve, though.
I'm not blocking Steve. I like Steve a lot. So Randy, Kearney has now offered the NDP here in Canada a bunch of concessions so that they come over to the Liberal Party for votes. Of course they are. There are only 7 NDPers in Parliament right now. Nor the 4 of the NDPs have already agreed to give Kearney the votes that he needs to get the majority government. It is over for Canada. I'm telling you.
No, we voted that. Come
I
on.
didn't. You say we,
No,
but I
as a
didn't.
collective. It's really honestly insane. And you know what's the worst part of it? Ontario, where we reside, is the people who really tip it over the edge. It's unbelievable how we did that. And you know, I wish I could understand it, but we voted in and then we complain. It's insane. You know what? We voted it in. It is what it is. Stop complaining. Live it. That's what you wanted. You want the NDP to give away free groceries to people who cross over the border, give them a debit card, give them free watch, give them phone, give them hotel. That's what you want to do with the Canadians' money. And then we do all that stuff, and now we need more tax money. Your taxes go up, and yeah, that's what we want. So we voted it in. We got to live with it. I want to get on.
Okay,
to
one
the
more
stats.
email, then we
Okay.
can do it. Cameron says, all right, here's the violin music. We get it. F these kids today.
I love kids, so yeah, I won't partake in that. Okay, so
Now we'll let Randy go
I
about
want to
his
start. What time do we
stats.
go? What time is it?
You got 20 minutes, buddy.
Okay, so I want to start with this. I don't want to get straight into the stats just yet, but I'm going to talk about a little bit of history. 2022 average price was almost 1.2 million. We are currently almost, this August we hit almost $1 million. We're $22,000 over $1 million for the average price. So prices have dropped almost $200,000. So we're looking, not quite, but close to 18%, 15 to 20% drop. Depends on what neighborhood you're in and things of that nature. That's really important to keep in mind. Year one in 2022, prices dropped only 5K. Year two in 2023, they only dropped another 6.5K. In year three, 2024, they only dropped 11K. And so far this year, prices have dropped 19K. From the peak to now, we're looking at $171,000 difference, $171,628 difference in the actual average price. So it's really kind of fascinating to see that it was trickle, and this year we're seeing something a little bit more dramatic than that. And next year is going to be worse. Remember that. Remember that I've been saying that, because I know you've been hearing stuff on the news, the market's picking up, it's going to be better, all this stuff. It's
Yeah, okay.
hogwash. It's honestly
funny because I was talking to somebody the other day and I said the same thing. They're like, oh, but this. I said, listen, do not believe what you read. What's that saying? Believe nothing what you hear and half of what you see. So, people put news out for ratings to get people to read it, to subscribe to them. It's not necessarily always the truth, or it's the truth with a little bit of a bend. So be careful because you can go on many different sites and get all different kinds of information, and none of it is the same. And they're talking about the same thing, and they're all got different. It's all about ratings, honestly.
When we are in a society where you have in a neighboring country, you have a party that will has all the media on board doing character assassinations, which they know is not true, against someone who's running for leadership. When they take him and charge him with a whole bunch of stuff, when they know that it's hogwash what they're putting him through. And anybody who is in the banking industry, in the real estate industry, they know that was an absolute witch hunt, and it made no sense because we're in the industry. The general public, half of the public doesn't know the difference, the other half, and they just want to see him crucified, and the other half doesn't know the difference, and they don't believe that it's true. But the truth of the matter is the professionals in the industry know that what they're saying isn't even possible for it to be true, or 70% of Canadians and Americans would have to go to jail because we all think that our homes are worth more than what the banks think. So now we're all criminals. It doesn't make sense. They have where the one party is going after the other party and removing them from the ballot in 16 states. Or one party is going after the other party and possibly trying to bankrupt him with the biggest fine that is bigger than the biggest fine in American history, where you cannot actually do a bond for, because there's no licensing for anything of that value. So even if you have the money, you can't get an insurance company to bond it. So that's just a bankrupting thing. So they do that, and then finally, when none of it's really kind of working, they try to kill him. And so when you have this going on in our neighboring country, you sort of start to lose trust in your government. You really do. And right now, it's really interesting because most Canadians don't see American politics that way. They just see their leader right now as a big, horrible, racist, misogynist person. That's all Canadians kind of see, and we hate him because of this whole tariff thing. And I'll be honest, I don't like this whole tariff thing either, and be honest with you, because
Well, does
I'm
anybody?
Canadian. However, the truth of the matter is, what we really should be hating is the process that he just beat out. Because we should never want that to come here. We shouldn't want it anywhere. And so this marriage between the media and government needs to end. No more sponsoring of media or anything like that. If you can't survive on your own, get lost. Because we just saw what that does. We just saw, because most people, believe it or not, actually believe that Donald Trump is a racist. Most people believe that. It's really interesting. And you can't tell them otherwise because they've heard it for 8 years. And so they'll say Central Park 5, all this kind of stuff to justify it. When if you actually do a little bit more research, you'll say, that story doesn't really add up. So anyways, moving on. If he was a real racist, there was so many things that he wouldn't have done. Now, I want to get...
They talk about, I got to say one thing, just because you said it, because I was reading this earlier. They talk about how bad he is. But what about the Liberals that are fighting to keep these criminals in the States? And you're constantly hearing on the news how, this girl got raped and killed by a convicted whatever that's there, or he's been in jail for something and out and all that. Like, I don't understand why they think that's okay.
They're not supporting the racists. What they're doing is they're just fighting against Donald Trump.
Exactly.
And to me...
They don't care about the people. They don't really care about the country. It's all about winning.
That's what I'm seeing. I really don't know how people can't... I don't know why I see it that way, but I will tell you, I don't know any other way to see it. For the life of me, it makes no sense. Here in Canada, we had some people break into a guy break into a gentleman's house. He beat the crap out of the guy. He got charged.
But it's not only the states.
It doesn't make sense.
It's not only the states. Listen, I don't know if anybody read this article, and this is not real estate related, but this guy got stabbed to death in his apartment. I think it was last week in downtown Toronto. Really nice guy trying to help this lady that had nowhere to live and all that. So he took her in and everything was okay. And then she stole his phone, whatever. This was the story that the son told. And he told her she had to leave because, I'm trying to help you and you're just stealing from me. So the story goes that I guess she got upset and she stabbed him to death. But this woman was arrested 2 times before that for aggravated assault, for threatening to kill somebody, and let out. And now apparently she murdered this guy and she's out on bail right now. And she looks like a psychopath to me when you see her. So this is the Liberals again. So I'm sorry. I'm not, I think it's a left
We
thing.
vote them in.
I think it's a left thing. And when you see people, you know, these kind of things happening, there is some kind of breakdown in our system all over.
It is, unfortunately, it is what we voted for. We know that these soft on crime policies are Liberal policies, and we voted Liberals in. So we
Yeah.
gotta live with it. I, for the life of me, don't understand how someone can break into your house, and
Yeah.
now you have to understand what reasonable force
You have to let
is.
them do whatever,
No,
really.
no,
No,
you
you got to
can-
let them
you-
take what they want and do what they want because you can't protect your family.
But doing what you want could be raping and killing your family. So you can't let them do that. But you have to, during that time, assess what's going on and apply equal force. This is insane.
At that point,
I
how
think-
can you stop and think about that?
For the life of me, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's actually, I would think,
It's
impossible.
insane. It's insane.
For some people, maybe the policymakers that do it, maybe they would be able to sit down and say, okay, well, you walked in the door so I can walk up to you. Okay, so I've got that, that's good. Oh, you pulled out a gun. Well, that means I can pull out a gun. I can't fire it. I have to wait for you to shoot, because maybe you weren't gonna shoot.
Yeah, I know.
And so, you know, it
Ridiculous.
just, it really is kind of insane, but we know these things, we know these policies, and we vote as a collective, vote that in. And so we got to live with it. It really kind of sucks. And obviously, I'm on the other side. I just turned. I was 100% the Liberal side of things. But now, for me, it's impossible. And I'm shocked when I see it because things have gone too far. What's right is now wrong, and what's wrong is now right. And if you don't understand that, you need to go to jail. If someone breaks into your house, they should have the right way. As a matter of fact, leave the keys to your car at the front door. You know what? No, don't do that. Leave them in your door, your car.
You left them in the car the other night.
Leave it in the car, in the lock, so that they can clearly see that they can take it
And they
and
don't
go.
have to break it.
Like, what kind of world is this? What world are we creating? How, if someone out there can send in an email and please explain to me how this makes our world safer? I really don't understand. Anyways, let's move on.
Yeah, you're running out of
Sales
time.
are down. Sales are up, which is kind of a good thing. Sales are up 6,211. Is that 6,000 or is that 5,000? Hon, I need glasses. It's only 5,200, right?
Yeah.
5,200 sales are up over last August. However, here is the thing that I would look at. Active listings are at 27,000. So active listings are up 22.4%, which brings us back to really close to a 1 in 5, 1 in 4 point whatever chance of selling. So that means for every 4.5 people on the market, only one of them are going to sell in the month of August. Now, average price is lowered to $22,000, over $1 million. So we have dropped to $1,022,000, which is a 5.2% drop in the average price. Now, 5.2% is a large number to be dropping in sales. New listings are up 9.4%. And like I said, active listings are up 22.4%. This is what makes the sales going up only 2% problematic. Okay, but what's kind of interesting is months of inventory is still in the balanced range with 4.5 months of inventory, which is substantially more than what we were used to. At one point, we were below 1 month of inventory. Now we've got 4.5 months of inventory, but the sales to new, which is the months of inventory, is sort of like an indicator, indicator telling us, you know, who has better negotiation strength or momentum in the marketplace? Is it the buyers or the sellers? So right now, based on months of inventory, it's a little bit balanced. And both buyers and sellers are having some say in the marketplace. But sales and new listing trends are showing a completely different thing. So we have one indicator in the balance, which is months of inventory, and then the other indicator, sales and new listing trend, being at 34.5%, is clearly in the buyer's favor. So the problem that we have is, okay, inventory is probably going to climb in order to have months of inventory in the buyer's range, and sales and new listings is already in the buyer's range, and we've seen the indicators shifting in favor of buyers, and the months of inventory hasn't climbed there, but it's climbed out of sellers, and it's heading very quickly towards a buyer's marketplace. Average sales listing price is at 97%, so that's a 3% discount. We were used to seeing like 104 or 105, which means that you had to overbid for homes. And then for a while there, we were seeing 199. Well, it's dropped down to 97% now, which means that you can reasonably expect, on average, throughout the Toronto Real Estate Board, a 3% negotiation room in the average property. And property days on the market, it is taking 11.4% longer to sell homes. So we're almost getting into the 50-day range. Put your home on the market now. It takes 49 days on average to sell it for the average home and the average time. And so be prepared that this is your reality. So don't think that because you put your home on the market today, it's going to sell that quickly. Buyers are taking their time to buy. Buyers have more choice because it's a buyer's market according to sales and new listing ratio, and it could take and we've got 4.5 months of inventory, so there's lots of choice for the buyers, and because only 1 in 4.5 homes are selling, buyers are the ones that are going to determine which of these 5 we're going to buy. So that's kind of what's happening in the marketplace for the month of August. The stats just came out, and that's what we're seeing. So we're basically, what we're seeing is the market is shifting downwards, and it's continuing to shift downwards. The stats are all moving in that direction, which is pretty consistent with what we've been telling you for the last couple of years. And what we're telling you now is that next year is going to be another bad year for the real estate.
I did hear this today, that the interest rates are probably going to go down next week.
Yeah, so, well...
and there's some specials out there right now, like 6-month, whatever, where you can get a lower interest rate, and then after 6 months, well, obviously it's going to change. You have to lock in for your 5-year term or whatever, but you can, to help get people in the market, right? They've lowered...
Yeah.
I've had a couple people that, are on the low end of the market, and there's a few homes out there. I mean, they're not, they're not brand new homes, and I'm not saying they don't need work, but, there's some homes out there that are affordable right now.
Yep, and rates,
Especially in
if the
offshore.
Bank of Canada brings down the overnight rate 0.25%, it's not going to change anything. Let's get real. That's not where we're at. The banks themselves in the fixed rate department are running some specials to attract, because they're fighting for business. But RBC recorded one of their best quarters in history. I'm not sure if it was over 5 or 6 billion in a quarter. So RBC is finding a way to make business while everyone else is seeing that.
Did you notice how much interest comes out of your account?
So
I'm kidding.
That's the
But
market update.
their visas, right? Their interest is all about them, and they, you put your money in the bank, they use it for a bit, because that's why they put it on hold and you can't touch it for a week. So they know what they're doing.
Well, thank you for that, and we're going to close out now.
Are we?
And yeah, and you should please block that Steven guy.
Steve, make sure you come back and send us some more emails next week.
No.
I'm on board with you.
No, only business. That's all I want to see
No.
coming from Steve.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's been your home.
I think he's jealous, Steve. Sorry.
I'm not jealous, Steve. You're invisible to me. Okay, it's been your home, your money,
And Rosie's life.
and our lives on realityradio101.com. Bye for now.
Ciao.
Thank you for listening to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy and Jackie Rodney, right here on Reality Radio 101.